What if the greatest thing standing between you and the life you've always wanted isn't a lack of money, talent, or opportunity? What if it's the simple fact that you've never spent enough time alone to truly discover who you are? Most people are terrified of silence. The moment they're alone, they reach for their phone. They scroll, they watch, they text, they distract themselves, anything to avoid being alone with their own thoughts. But here's a question that could change your life forever. What if the person you've been searching for is the version of yourself waiting in that silence? History has a strange pattern. Before every extraordinary success, there is usually a season that nobody applauds, a season of quiet mornings, lonely walks, difficult choices, and invisible work. While the world celebrates the spotlight, greatness is almost always built in the shadows. The strongest people aren't those who always have support. They're the ones who learn how to stand when nobody is clapping, keep moving when nobody believes, and keep growing when nobody is watching. So before you spend another day chasing validation from the world, ask yourself one question. Have you ever truly met the person you're capable of becoming? Or have you been too busy listening to everyone else? Because by the end of this video, you may never look at being alone the same way again. There comes a moment in almost every person's life when the noise becomes louder than their own thoughts. Every day begins with notifications, opinions, expectations, and endless comparisons. We wake up checking what everyone else is doing before asking ourselves what we truly want. Slowly, without realizing it, we begin living according to other people's expectations instead of our own values. We become so busy chasing approval that we forget to ask a simple but life-changing question. Who am I when nobody is watching? That question has the power to transform your future because the answer cannot be found in a crowded room. It cannot be found on social media. It cannot be found in endless conversations or constant entertainment. It is only discovered in moments of intentional silence. The truth is, many people are not afraid of being alone. They are afraid of meeting the version of themselves they have ignored for years. They fear the dreams they abandoned, the excuses they have repeated, and the potential they know still exists deep inside them. But avoiding that conversation comes with a price. Every day spent running from yourself is another day spent delaying the person you were created to become. Growth has never been loud. The strongest trees develop their deepest roots where nobody can see them. Diamonds are formed under pressure, not applause. Mountains are climbed one lonely step at a time, long before anyone celebrates reaching the summit. The same principle applies to your life. Every meaningful transformation begins in private. Before confidence becomes visible, it is practiced in silence. Before discipline produces results, it is repeated without recognition. Before success becomes public, it is built through hundreds of unseen decisions. If you truly want to change your future, the first habit you must develop is learning to become comfortable with your own company. Because the greatest relationship you will ever build is not with the world. It is with the person you become when no one else is there to guide, distract, or define you. Most people use the words loneliness and solitude as if they mean the same thing, but they are worlds apart. Loneliness is the feeling that something is missing. Solitude is the realization that something important is finally being found. One drains your energy, while the other restores it. Imagine two people sitting alone in separate rooms. One spends the evening feeling abandoned, counting the hours until someone calls. The other opens a notebook, reflects on the day, reads a few pages of a meaningful book, and writes down one goal for tomorrow. To the outside world, both people appear equally alone. But internally, they are living completely different realities. One is waiting for life to happen. The other is intentionally creating it. That is the hidden power of solitude. It transforms empty moments into opportunities for growth. History quietly reminds us of this truth again and again. Many of the world's greatest thinkers, inventors, writers, and leaders spent long seasons away from the spotlight, not because they disliked people, but because they understood that clear thinking requires quiet space. Every breakthrough begins as a private thought before it becomes a public achievement. The same is true for your life. If every free moment is filled with scrolling, entertainment, or constant conversation, when will you ever hear your own ideas? When will you discover your hidden strengths? When will you recognize the habits holding you back? The answers rarely arrive in the middle of chaos. They arrive when the mind becomes still enough to listen. Solitude is not about escaping the world forever. It is about stepping away long enough to return stronger, wiser, and more intentional. The person who learns to enjoy their own company gains a freedom that no amount of popularity can provide. They stop making decisions just to impress others. They stop chasing approval. That never truly satisfies. Instead, they begin building a life that reflects their values rather than society's expectations. And that single shift can change the direction of an entire lifetime. If solitude has the power to transform a life, then you have to ask another question. Why is it so difficult to practice? The answer is simple. We live in a world that profits from distraction. Every notification competes for your attention. Every headline demands an emotional reaction. Every scroll promises something new, yet leaves you feeling emptier than before. Attention has become one of the most valuable currencies on earth, and countless companies are fighting to keep yours. The longer you stay distracted, the less time you spend building the future you truly want. Imagine carrying a bucket with a tiny hole in the bottom. You keep pouring water into it, but by the time you reach your destination, most of it has leaked away. That bucket is your attention. Every unnecessary distraction steals a little more of your focus, your creativity, your energy, and your time. At first, the loss seems small, just 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, but months later those minutes have become hundreds of hours that could have been spent learning a valuable skill, improving your health, strengthening your relationships, or creating something meaningful. This is why successful people guard their attention as carefully as others guard their money. They understand that money can be earned again, but time can never be recovered. Every hour wasted today quietly shapes tomorrow's reality. That doesn't mean you must avoid entertainment or disconnect from the world completely. It means learning to decide when technology serves you instead of allowing it to control you. The strongest minds are not those that never face distractions. They are the ones that know when to switch the noise off. Imagine beginning each day with 30 uninterrupted minutes of silence before opening your phone. No messages.
No social media. No endless opinions.
Just your thoughts, your goals, and a clear vision of the person you are trying to become. Those quiet minutes may look insignificant, but over months and years they become the foundation of extraordinary discipline. Great lives are rarely built by dramatic moments. They are built by small daily choices that most people are unwilling to make. Every time you choose focus over distraction, purpose over comfort, and growth over instant pleasure, you are casting a vote for the future version of yourself. Eventually, those votes become your identity, and your identity becomes your destiny. A few years ago, I heard the story of a man whose life looked completely ordinary from the outside. He worked a regular 9-to-5 job, paid his bills, came home exhausted, watched television until midnight, and repeated the same routine day after day. He wasn't lazy, and he wasn't untalented. Like millions of people, he was simply stuck in a cycle that left no room for growth. Every new year he promised himself that things would change. He would get healthier, learn a new skill, start a business, or finally chase the dream he had been talking about for years. But every year ended exactly where it began. Then one morning, instead of reaching for his phone, he made a decision that seemed almost too small to matter. He woke up 30 minutes earlier and took a walk alone. No music.
No podcast.
No phone calls. Just silence. At first, those walks felt uncomfortable. His mind wandered in every direction. He replayed old mistakes, worried about the future, and questioned whether those quiet mornings were accomplishing anything. But he kept showing up. After a few weeks, something unexpected happened. His thoughts became clearer. Problems that once felt overwhelming suddenly had practical solutions. He started carrying a small notebook to write down ideas before they disappeared. 1 page became 10. 10 pages became a detailed plan. That plan turned into daily action. Within a year, he had learned new skills, improved his health, and launched a small side business that slowly grew into something far bigger than he had ever imagined. When people finally noticed his success, they called him lucky. They admired the results but never saw the mornings that created them. They celebrated the harvest but ignored the countless days spent planting seeds in silence. That is how transformation usually works. It begins with choices so small that nobody else pays attention. Yet those tiny decisions quietly reshape your habits, your mindset, and eventually your entire future. Never underestimate the power of a single intentional habit. One quiet walk, one page of reflection, one honest conversation with yourself may seem insignificant today, but repeated consistently, those moments become the turning point that separates an average life from an extraordinary one. Success rarely arrives through one dramatic breakthrough. It grows through the invisible discipline of showing up, even when no one is watching. The most important discoveries in life are often not about the world around us. They are about the world within us. Many people spend years studying markets, careers, relationships, and opportunities, yet they never take the time to study themselves. They know what other people expect from them, but they do not know what truly drives them. They know how to impress a crowd, but they have never learned how to be honest with their own reflection. This is why intentional solitude is so powerful. It removes the masks we wear for society and forces us to confront the truth. What are we afraid of? What excuses do we repeat? What dreams have we abandoned because someone else doubted us? These questions are uncomfortable, but discomfort is often the doorway to growth. Imagine an athlete who avoids difficult training because it hurts. He may feel comfortable in the moment, but he sacrifices future strength. The same principle applies to the mind. Every time we avoid self-reflection, we choose temporary comfort over long-term transformation. Solitude gives us the opportunity to examine our habits honestly. It reveals where our time goes, where our energy is wasted, and where our potential remains undeveloped. And once we become aware of those patterns, change becomes possible. There is a reason so many successful people keep journals, take long walks, meditate, or spend time away from constant noise. They understand that clarity is a competitive advantage. A confused mind reacts to life.
A clear mind directs life.
When your thinking becomes clearer, your decisions improve. When your decisions improve, your actions become more intentional. When your actions become more intentional, your future begins to change.
This is not.
One of the greatest myths people believe is that confidence comes after success. They think, once I earn more money, I'll feel confident. Once people recognize me, I'll believe in myself. Once everything goes right, I'll finally become fearless. But life doesn't work that way. Confidence is not the reward for achievement, it is the result of repeated promises you keep to yourself. Every time you wake up when you said you would, every time you finish a task instead of making another excuse, every time you choose discipline over comfort, you quietly prove to yourself that your word has value. And when your word has value in your own eyes, confidence begins to grow naturally. No applause is required. No audience is needed. Think of a blacksmith forging a sword. He doesn't create strength with one strike of the hammer. He shapes it through hundreds of repeated blows, each one adding a little more resilience to the metal. Your character is forged the same way. Every difficult morning, every lonely practice session, every silent hour of focused work is another strike of the hammer. From the outside, it may look repetitive or even boring. But inside, something powerful is taking shape. You are becoming more patient, more focused, more disciplined, and more resilient than you were yesterday. This is why successful people don't rely on motivation alone. Motivation comes and goes with emotions. Some mornings you'll feel inspired, while other mornings you'll feel tired, discouraged, or uncertain. If your future depends only on how you feel, your progress will always be inconsistent.
Discipline, however, is different.
Discipline shows up even when excitement disappears. It keeps moving even when results are invisible. It understands that today's effort is an investment in tomorrow's reward. Ask yourself an honest question. What kind of person are you becoming through your daily habits? Not what you hope to become someday, but who your actions are shaping you into right now. Because every repeated choice is casting a vote for your future identity. You don't become successful overnight. You become successful one decision at a time. You don't build an extraordinary life in a single moment. You build it through thousands of ordinary moments handled with extraordinary consistency. And the beautiful part is this: every new day gives you another opportunity to choose the person you want to become. Your future is not created by one giant leap, it is built by the small decisions you make when no one else is watching. There comes a point in every meaningful journey when life asks a difficult question: are you willing to be misunderstood in order to become the person you were meant to be? Most people crave acceptance so deeply that they abandon their own dreams before they even begin. They shrink their ambitions to make others comfortable. They stay silent because they fear criticism. They choose familiarity over possibility because approval feels safer than growth. But history has never been changed by people who simply followed the crowd. Every great achievement started with someone who was willing to walk a path that others could not yet understand. That path is often lonely, not because you are doing something wrong, but because transformation naturally separates you from old habits, old thinking, and sometimes even old relationships. This doesn't mean you stop loving people or believing in community. It means you stop allowing other people's expectations to become the blueprint for your life. Imagine an eagle learning to fly. It cannot remain in the nest forever, no matter how comfortable or familiar that nest may be. The very place that once protected it eventually becomes the place that limits it. Growth demands movement. It demands courage. It demands leaving behind what is familiar in order to discover what is possible. Human life follows the same principle. There are seasons when you must outgrow old routines, limiting beliefs, and environments that no longer support the person you are becoming. That process can feel uncomfortable because growth almost always requires letting go before moving forward. Many people mistake temporary discomfort for failure, when in reality it is often evidence that progress is taking place. A seed must break open before it can become a tree. A caterpillar must leave its old form before it becomes a butterfly. Even the strongest muscles grow only after being challenged beyond their comfort. Why should your character be any different? Every challenge you face carries two possibilities. It can either become the excuse that keeps you where you are, or the lesson that carries you to the next level. The choice is always yours. Never fear the season when your progress is invisible. The strongest foundations are built underground long before anyone admires the building above. Stay faithful to your daily disciplines. Continue learning when nobody notices. Continue improving when nobody applauds. Continue believing in your purpose even when others cannot yet see your vision. One day, the results will speak louder than any explanation ever could. And when that day arrives, you'll realize that every lonely step, every quiet sacrifice, and every moment of self-discipline was preparing you for a life far greater than you once imagined. There is a silent battle taking place inside every human being. It isn't the battle between you and other people. It isn't the battle between success and failure. The greatest battle is between the person you are today and the person you have the potential to become. Every morning, both versions wake up with you. One version seeks comfort, chooses excuses, and postpones difficult decisions until tomorrow. The other version asks you to be courageous, to stay disciplined, and to take one more step even when nobody is watching. The direction of your life is determined by which voice you feed more often. Every excuse strengthens your old identity. Every disciplined action strengthens your future identity. Over time, those repeated choices become your character, and your character quietly shapes your destiny. Imagine standing at a crossroads with two roads stretching into the distance. The first road is wide, smooth, and crowded. Almost everyone is walking on it. It promises quick pleasure, endless entertainment, and the comfort of never standing out. The second road is narrow, quiet, and often empty. It demands patience, self-control, and the courage to keep moving without immediate rewards. At first glance, the easier road seems attractive. But years later, the destinations reveal the truth. One road leads to regret, the painful realization that you spent your life reacting instead of creating. The other leads to fulfillment, not because it was easy, but because it allowed you to become the strongest version of yourself. Greatness has never been about choosing what feels good today. It has always been about choosing what creates a better tomorrow. One day, you will look back on this season of your life. The question is not whether time will pass, it certainly will. The real question is who you will become while it passes. Will you become someone who allowed distractions to steal years of potential? Or someone who used quiet moments to build wisdom, discipline, and purpose? Every day gives you a fresh opportunity to rewrite that answer. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need unlimited resources. You don't need everyone to believe in you. You simply need the courage to take one meaningful step today, then another tomorrow, and another the day after that. Remember this: extraordinary lives are rarely created through extraordinary moments. They are created through ordinary moments lived with extraordinary intention. Every page you read, every skill you practice, every promise you keep to yourself, every lonely morning you choose growth over comfort is shaping a future that most people never experience. The world may not notice your progress immediately, but your future self will. And one day, when others ask how you became so strong, so focused, and so confident, the answer will be simple. You learned to master yourself long before you tried to master the world. As you move forward in life, you will eventually discover a truth that many people learn too late. Your greatest investment is not in your bank account, your career, or even your reputation. It is in the person you become. Everything you own can be taken away. Money can disappear. Opportunities can change. People may come and go. But the wisdom you gain, the discipline you build, the habits you develop, and the character you shape become assets that no one can steal. That is why every hour you spend improving yourself is never wasted. It is an investment that continues paying dividends for the rest of your life. The strongest people are not those who avoid hardship, they are the ones who allow hardship to refine them instead of defining them. Think about a lighthouse standing on the edge of a stormy coast. Waves crash against it day after day. Powerful winds try to shake its foundation. Rain pours relentlessly, yet the lighthouse remains standing because its strength was built long before the storm arrived. Your life follows the same principle. Challenges do not create your character, they reveal it. If your foundation is built on discipline, purpose, integrity, and self-awareness, then difficulties may test you, but they will not destroy you. That foundation is built quietly through the choices you make when life is calm. It is built every time you refuse to compromise your values, every time you remain patient instead of reacting emotionally, and every time you choose long-term growth over short-term comfort. There will always be people who doubt your vision because they cannot see what you see. Some will question your decisions, laugh at your ambitions, or tell you to settle for an ordinary life. Never allow someone else's limited imagination to become the limit of your future. People judge based on your current situation, but your future is determined by your daily actions. Keep planting seeds even when the field looks empty. Keep learning when progress feels invisible. Keep showing up when motivation fades. Remember, the greatest victories are usually earned long before anyone notices them. By the time the world calls you successful, you will already know that success began on the quiet mornings when no one believed, no one applauded, and no one was watching.
So protect your peace. Protect your attention.
Protect your standards. Be careful about what you allow into your mind because your thoughts eventually become your beliefs become your decisions, and your decisions become your destiny. Every sunrise offers a new opportunity to become wiser than yesterday. Every challenge carries a lesson that can strengthen you if you are willing to learn. Keep walking your path with patience and humility, trusting that every disciplined step is leading you toward a future your present self can barely imagine. One day you will look back, not with regret for the chances you missed, but with gratitude that you had the courage to keep moving forward, even when the journey required you to walk alone. As this journey comes to an end, I want to leave you with one final thought. Years from now, you won't remember every conversation, every notification, or every moment you spent chasing the approval of strangers. But you will remember the day you made the decision to take ownership of your life. The day you stopped waiting for perfect circumstances and started creating them. The day you realized that your future wasn't hidden in luck, it was hidden inside your daily choices. Every sunrise gives you a blank page, and every decision writes another sentence in the story of your life. The question is not whether your story will be written.
It will.
The real question is whether you will become the author of that story or allow other people, distractions, and fear to write it for you. Never underestimate the power of one disciplined day. One honest conversation with yourself. One quiet morning without distractions. One chapter read instead of 1 hour wasted. One workout instead of one excuse. One courageous decision instead of another delay. These moments may seem ordinary, but over time they become extraordinary. They become the invisible bricks that build an unshakable life. Remember, the strongest buildings are not constructed in a single day, they are built brick by brick, with patience, consistency, and purpose. Your future works exactly the same way that if life feels slow right now, don't lose heart. The greatest transformations are often invisible before they become undeniable. Just because the world cannot see your progress doesn't mean progress isn't happening. A seed grows beneath the soil long before anyone sees a tree. Dawn begins long before the sun appears above the horizon. Your preparation is not being wasted. Every lesson you learn, every sacrifice you make, every promise you keep to yourself is preparing you for opportunities that haven't arrived yet. Trust the process, even when the results are delayed. Greatness belongs to those who continue planting while everyone else is searching for instant rewards. And whenever you feel like giving up, remember this: walking alone doesn't mean you're losing people, it often means you're finding yourself. The road may be quiet, but quiet roads often lead to extraordinary destinations.
Keep learning. Keep growing. Keep protecting your peace.
Keep choosing discipline over comfort and purpose over distraction. One day, you'll look in the mirror and realize that the person staring back at you is stronger, wiser, calmer, and more courageous than you ever imagined. That will be your greatest success. Not the money you earned or the applause you received, but the person you became along the way. If this message spoke to your heart, don't let it end here. Take one small action today that your future self will thank you for. Write down your biggest dream. Go for a quiet walk. Read 10 pages of a great book. Turn off the distractions for just 30 minutes and listen to your own thoughts. And if you're committed to becoming the strongest version of yourself, subscribe to this channel, because every video is designed to help you build the mindset, discipline, and wisdom needed to create an extraordinary life. Share this video with someone who needs this message today, and remember, your greatest competition has never been another person. It has always been the person you have the potential to become. The journey starts now.